Kindly mute your.
Yes, could everyone
Hello?
mute their mics, please?
Yeah. All right. So the topic for today is how to get hired and how to stay hired uh, in the context of someone who has mental illness or experienced mental illness of any kind. So my personal position, as I said, is that I would like to, I'd like to believe that to say that we put people into boxes to say somebody is mentally well and somebody is mentally ill may be quite restrictive. I think a large number of people kind of move in this continuum of wellness and illness, depending on their circumstances and context. For some people, it might kind of be somewhat limiting, debilitating. For some people, it might be restrictive. So it's a matter of degrees in my mind. That's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is for the benefit of all people present, I'd like to bring a perspective from how organizations are likely to view this. And therefore, those who are care seekers and caregivers can get the benefit of that perspective to say, if I need to uh, enter this world, and stay in this world and remain productive, what are some things that can help me? I think that will be the focus of my deliberation. And so, whatever I'm sharing, I'd like you to look at it through that perspective that I'm coming. Uh, I am not an expert in this field, but I'm a practitioner who has experienced, witnessed this, seen this close quarters, and therefore I'm coming from that humble perspective only. So first thing I want to say is today more than ever before, and it is perhaps fair to say that everyone has a personal first-hand experience about mental illness. Uh, I want to share perhaps the analogy of COVID. When COVID first happened, everyone said it was a statistic. So many people have a challenge. It then reached a point where everyone knew somebody in their families and their network who had COVID. It became a personal experience, not just a piece of statistics. Today, I think mental wellness challenges, mental well-being challenges have reached a state where everyone has a personal first-hand experience of having gone through it or knowing someone who is dealing with it. To that extent, I have great hope that the world is a lot more aware. In the degree of understanding, it is far better than it was even 5 years ago. And for anyone who is a caregiver or care seeker, I think that's a very positive news that the world understands this better than ever before. You are not alone fighting to say, how do I make people understand? People understand it better. Can it get better? Of course, yes. But I think it's far, far better than what it was. That's the first thing I want to say. And therefore, is it possible for us to find our strengths and gifts to receive some acceptance? It is better than ever before. Of course, there is a lot of work to be done. That's the first point I want to make. So there is hope. The second big thing is that the world of work has changed so dramatically. It has changed so dramatically that it is no longer necessary for everyone to wake up in the morning and go to office. Even people you would consider mentally very healthy do not want to go to office. And organizations are struggling in millions to get people back to work, and they're saying, I'm not interested. So the world of work has changed to accept and understand people whose needs and preferences are quite different. That is the first point. Second, work itself has now been fragmented and broken up into small pieces to suit the diverse needs of special talents and abilities someone has. So if I have something unique to offer, there is someone who is looking for that uniqueness. Now, that someone need not be someone who will turn up at the doorstep of the office and be there 5 days a week. I can do it for 2 hours, and somebody in the world is ready to receive that 2 hours. and pay you for that 2 hours and not judge you on how you dress, what you do, how you talk, and so on. I think the world has changed. One, because the need for special skills and abilities is acute. It has become global. The employment contract organizations are also not ready to, willing to, capable of offering some lifetime job and all of that. They're saying, today I have this work, can you do it for me? I think that is great news again. If I have something unique and special to offer, I can find a place somewhere in the world, I'm saying, not just in your city, somewhere in the world for someone to receive it. I think that's a big, that disruption, I think, has made it a great opportunity for anyone who has any constraint of any kind. It could be a young mother, it could be someone who's looking for a second career post-retirement, it could be someone home, or it was someone who has certain challenges of mental well-being which prevents them from doing everyone else doing. I think the world and the world of work, not for enlightened, uh, you know, generosity, but out of enlightened self-interest, the world is willing to accept and accommodate these needs. That's the second big good news. We need to believe that there is a job available in a small piece, in a small capsule that someone can get. The third good news is that technology is disrupting everything so significantly that it is the biggest boon available for people. If you can learn how to work and dance with technology, I would actually use the word dance with technology, then the world opens up to you. You don't need to buy expensive software. You don't need to spend lots of money. You don't need to go and attend some big costly courses. If you figure out how to really leverage technology, then I think so many more opportunities are becoming available. And therefore, to me, these are three fundamental things I want to say: that the world's understanding, awareness, and to that extent, acceptance that people's mental readiness is of varying degrees, and a very large number of successful people at the workplace have several transient mental ill health challenges. An otherwise successful person also goes through phases of great difficulty, and organizations recognize them. That's the first news. Second news, as I said, is work is now broken up into fragments, making it easier for people to come and say, I'll just do this one piece. Third is technology is a great enabler, and it can compensate for many. I do not know. I think therefore this is something we all need to recognize, embrace, and say there is far greater hope today than ever before. That's what I would say. Now, having said all that, what is the world of helping? Tell us about people who have been able to benefit in a world like this. What has helped people succeed? Right? There are a lot of perspectives on who has succeeded, who has not succeeded. Right? I work in a coaching institute where we are helping people. My wife runs a school for dyslexic children. She is helping people. And I see many others who are counselors and therapists who are helping people. So if you look at all of that, there are some couple of very fundamental factors which seem to contribute for success. The very first factor is what in theory they call extra therapeutic factor. It has nothing to do with the treatment or therapy. It is to do with whether that person has a supportive immediate environment. I'm putting that right up front before anything else. Whether that person has the benefit of a supportive environment. Supportive environment is the immediate family. And someone, especially in the family, has made this their life priority. To say, I want to somehow help this person. I think that is absolutely critical. Understanding of the family, other members of the family, how much of kindness and love they are able to provide, I think is extremely critical. If there is a supportive environment, great progress can happen. Now, before I come to the person, I must say one more thing. Having a supportive environment is absolutely necessary but not sufficient, because you need a go-to person or persons who will be the bridge between you and the world of opportunities. While I have said jobs are there, technology is all is there, your family may not know how to access them. Your immediate environment know what to do, whom to speak to. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary to find one or two people who have some knowledge about the world of work, who can be the go-to person to guide, to counsel, to open doors, point in the right direction, provide some perspectives, provide some inputs, and so on. That is absolutely, it is very difficult for anyone to navigate this world without that bridge. So we need to find out who will be those bridges. It could be an informal source, or today we even find formal sources available like this whole support group. Someone who is willing to provide that bridge and say, if you have the willingness, I can tell you what might help you, what steps you need to take, where you need to go, where you need to look, and so on. So I think that well-informed source of guidance is absolutely critical. Otherwise, the world is so large, so complex, we can get lost despite good intention. Because you must know where is the right source of help. You must know whom to go. You must know how to apply. You must know which job is right. You must know what assessments I can take. So there is just so much. But someone to navigate, I have found that it is very, very critical. And though someone must have a certain larger interest in health, in support, interest in development, interest in the family, interest in the person, interest in the cause. I think that go-to person or persons, and that person will change as your needs change. That person will change, but there must be somebody you can rely on. I think those two are. Once we know that there are these opportunities, the immediate environment, and then one or two people you can access for guidance. The third is obviously uh, the person himself or herself uh, will need to use these resources available to first assess the level of emotional readiness. Am I ready emotionally to go and find something? Do I know what it will take? What are the demands? Can I, am I ready to take that responsibility and be on my own? How do I assess that? How do I enhance my readiness? How do I increase my capacity to deal with the demand? And it's a continuous journey. I think the emotional readiness of what it takes to meet the demands and expectations, I think one important thing. And that could get obviously more complex when physiological factors, health factors also come in. So there are other things that the family will obviously need to consider. So that is emotional readiness. What does it take? Can I deal with this level of stress? Can I deal with these kind of demands and so on? The other important thing, which is what I call career readiness, is to say I must use that go-to person to know more about myself. What are my unique gifts? That's very critical. I am obviously very good at something. I need to discover what is it that I'm good at, which is relevant to the marketplace. Am I good at scientific matters? Am I look good at logical matters? Am I good at administrative matters? Am I good at interpersonal matters? Am I good at creative matters? How do I figure out what am I very, very good at, which is of some value to the marketplace? Which means whoever you go to must help you enhance your awareness, but also say these things are in demand. I need to discover those things which are very good, which are also in demand. And that it's not going to be an easy process, but a critical process. What am I good at, which is in demand in the organization place? So the person job fit is critical. That this is who I am as a person. These are the avenues available. How do I figure out the right fit? And that will require an iterative process. It may require even trying out some few things and knowing that I tried it, it didn't work, so I'll try something else till I figure out this is exactly what I can do. This is what I'm very good at. So that's a tedious but critical journey of person job fit. This is what I am, and these are the available. This is where I think there are opportunities. So the persons I speak to must be able to help me discover that. Now, I must say that keeping a job depends on finding the right job. Because if I keep trying and failing, my confidence will come out. So I would suggest significant effort in then figuring out which is the right job, so that my chances of holding on to it are far, far higher. I will tell you this, even if you look at the brightest management graduates across the world, they all leave their first job. 60–50% of them leave their first job in the first few years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Why does that happen? You might call them bright and gifted and talented, but why do they leave their first job? Because it doesn't fit who they are. And it's true for all of us. So I think discovering that fit is especially important in this context. The second is the more tangible aspects of what kind of work style would important. Would I like to work from home? Would I like to go to a workplace which will energize me, which will stress me? Will a large organization be better for me? Will a small organization be better for me? Will working with people be better for me, or working on my better for me? Will quantity of work energize me, or quality of work? I need to really understand these things to know what is the kind of workplace that will suit me. If I've had some experiences already, that can also help me identify to some extent, not completely, to some extent I can identify. And I must say, everyone in the world of work struggles with these things. Everyone says, hey, I don't want to manage people. It is just too stressful today to manage people. There are many people say, I do not want to be promoted. There are many people say, I do not want to leave this city. That is the biggest challenge in India today. Many people say, I don't want to leave this city. I have my family, I have parents, support systems. I don't want to move. It will stress me out. Everyone has limitations and constraints. In fact, the biggest challenge today is as companies are growing and becoming bigger, they tell us, why are my people not ambitious? People are saying, boss, I have other things in life to do. To hell with your ambition. I like what I'm doing and I'd like to continue to do this. Therefore, accepting the reality is something which is happening to everyone. So what will fit me? What will suit me? Where am I likely to find peace? I think is important. Now, this brings me to a very important question of how we would like to measure the success. If you find a job, how will you measure success in the first 2–3 years? Will it be money? Will it be the quality of work you do? Will it be the fact that it is enriching your biodata? Will it be the fact that you can get along with your boss? Will it be the fact that you like the people? What are the measures of success which will tell you, yeah, I think this is good? I would put money somewhat lower in the hierarchy to begin with. The job would be very important. It has to energize you. Because if it doesn't energize me, it can be stressful for anybody. It can be stressful for anybody. That is why people have so many health setbacks at work. So the job itself, the people, the kind of workplace and environment are critical parameters for me to figure out that. So therefore, once I know that I'm ready, I need to know what is the kind of work and the environment that is likely to suit me. I need to have a hypothesis. It is still a hypothesis. I need to now go out and find jobs of that kind, right? At least I have some sense. Maybe I have some past experience. I have succeeded in failed in something. I've tried a few things. I now know what I definitely don't like, what I like. In the last few months, I have seen this works for me, this doesn't work for me. It's true for everybody, right? You might be very productive or not. These principles are true for everybody. So I do not want to isolate and say this is true only with this context. True in every context. Now, if by this time my level of career readiness is there, which is I know what I want, I know what will energize, I know what kind of workplaces will be good, I think I'm ready to enter the labor market. Now, as you all know, there are several ways in which one can do it. But I think to begin with, it would be important to go with talking to people who know that workplace firsthand. Because the website can look good, the job can look great on LinkedIn or wherever, but we do not know enough about that workplace. So I think it's useful to go to a place where someone has a first-hand experience, someone knows you and says, I think it will work. That's very critical to have some first-hand feel of the place, because we do not want to take risks and try something and fail. But I must say this, that today there are different kinds of opportunities. There are sites which are dedicated to what we call gig working, which means we want someone for 3 months, we want someone for 2 hours a day, we want someone for half a day, we want someone to come 2 days to work and 3 days from home. There are a variety of opportunities available. So there are opportunities by profession, there are opportunities by job, there are opportunities by industry. And there are many micro recruiting sites available. So if we know what we are very good at, I think we can go and search for those kind of opportunities. For example, if somebody is very good at some piping design for oil and gas, there are people who just do that. You can say, I can go and search only for this. So it can be as specific and as micro as. I can do good CAD drawings for architectural firms. There are people who can do that. So there are micro sites and job opportunities, portals available, and we can search to locate those opportunities. I think that is critical. Today, depending on the size of the organization, there are some organizations which are quite a few organizations, I must say, which have an employee assistance program, which have in-house counselors, full-time, part-time, on-call available. And organizations of that kind might be quite open, even if you share with them and say, look, I have these concerns and these limitations and I want you to know about this. So how much do I disclose? What do I share? My recommendation is that you share. The reason I'm saying that is disclosure at least opens the door for some understanding and not surprise. And therefore, seeing how the organization reacts to it. Meeting the immediate manager is very important, because finally in organizations there can be any rule and policy, but the immediate manager has a lot of say. So is the manager someone you can get along with, someone who would be somewhat open-minded to being flexible in how work is done? I think is extremely critical. Having a certain relationship with the immediate manager would be very critical before you say yes. What kind of a workplace will it be? Is that something I'm comfortable? I think would be very critical. So, in summary, I would say that I would give myself at least 6 months to a year to prepare myself emotionally and from a career perspective to search and identify something which will work for me. Now, this may require you to do some courses. This may require you to acquire some additional skills. This may require you to read up something, learn some method, uh, use of technology, all this might be critical. And that will take some time, but can certainly enhance your job prospects. Um, so um, that's really what I wanted to share with you as preamble. I'd like to stop now and then use the time for a conversation on specific questions, specific concerns that people who are care seekers or caregivers may have about how organizations look at this, what are organizational attitude towards this, how open are they likely to be, how can one navigate this and find a meaningful opportunity.
Uh, you could put your questions in the chat box or raise your hand, and we will take it from there.
There are a couple of questions which are already in chat box. So
Okay.
I guess we can start reading it, and then Ganesh Chelaji will answer those. So first question is there a list of organizations that hire person with the mental illness? That's the question.
Okay. I am certainly not aware of such a list. I definitely do not know. But I think I would first look for organizations which are not-for-profit organizations, which are involved in supporting employees with mental illness and finding meaningful opportunities, right? And I'm talking about mainstream regular opportunities, right? There are such organizations. I think so. The first starting point would be to identify a list of such organizations in each city. That would be the first step, because they are the ones who might be those go-to persons who might be able to say that, look, I think if you have this skill, this opportunity, they are looking at the job market regularly. That is how I would approach this.
Okay. Thank you. The second
Because
question.
organizations are still unsure on at an organization level how they will deal with this. They still don't know. While at an individual level they may be able to take some views and decisions, I don't think they have still understood whether they will take a stance and say we will do this, not do this. I think it's still too early.
Okay. So should we go ahead with second question?
Yeah.
Consistency is an important key to achieving anything, and regularity. I believe in it, and that is true. But if I do my work regularly, then regularity comes and schedule also. But stress increase of my stress increases. So how to cope up with that?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things of organizations is that the way organizations work is that if you worked in a job for 1 year, then the expectations from you in the second year is higher than what you did in the first year. That is the way organization jobs and lives are designed. That if you did very well, in some way you can say, almost if I put it crudely, you are punished by being given more work, right? Because they say you are a dependable employee. I'd like you to do more. I'll give you more money. But if she say, I don't want more money, I want to do the same work, becomes a certain impediment in the way organizational jobs are designed. That is the hard reality we all need to accept with, and I must also say with honesty, that is the way traditional jobs are designed. So how do I seek jobs where, one, the ascent is not steep. Two, I also know that I can enhance my capacity to cope with the demands of job, because that may also be necessary. That while I will pace myself, I will also attempt to enhance the extent to which I'm coping with the demands of the job. That will also need to go up some extent year on year, because that would be a organizational reality within limits, right? And so if I'm doing a certain, let's say, an operational role, I may not aspire for something larger, but within that, I may be asked to take on more load. So how do I, if efficiency is the kind of thing that I can get better at, then I should get better at that. But the question you ask is a very, I think it's an important question. And therefore, my ability to slowly and gradually enhancing my ability to meet increasing demands is important. So what are the ways in which I can do it? Are there skills I can acquire? Are there things I can do to cope with stress better? Are the questions to ask.
Could I just pipe in here, Ganesh? Just
Please.
there are a couple of things. Initially, to kick it off, we were looking at finding a job, and for that, you gave some very valuable information you shared, which is the opportunities which are available globally. Half an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and for which the required skills and time and the stress levels could be lower. Uh, could you guide us a little in that regard? Is there a particular search term which one can enter into an browser, or some keywords which come to mind to look for such jobs?
Yeah, so I can certainly share some links with you. I will after the session I'll share some links. For example, if I want to design a form, there are sites where I can go and say, "Can you do this for me?" And someone will actually do this for me, right? If I want a certain document to be prepared, someone can actually do that for me. If I want a small design to be made, someone can deliver it. So these kind of small pieces of work today, there are sites which are aggregators which say, hey, here are people who want this. Here are organizations who are looking for this small piece, one small piece of work to be done. Because these platforms are now becoming more and more popular for everything. And there are platforms available where someone can go and say, I want someone to do this animation work for me. And maybe there are people who are good at animation who can do it for a certain price per unit or whatever, and they will pay. I'll share some examples with you.
Next question
Yeah,
is,
I think I like Dr. Arun's comment. Preparing a directory of such institutions, such resources, definitely is a step in that direction, and it is growing by the day. I know that.
the next question is, please name some of the microsites you spoke about.
Yeah. I will certainly share some of the links and resources with Ganesh on where such examples of where people are looking for a specific skill we can make available. Yeah.
Next question is, negative symptoms of schizophrenia has done 16 jobs in last 10 years. What to do? Do 4 jobs in a year. That's what his question is. I mean, due to the...
Yeah, obviously it's obviously a very difficult situation that the ability to retain a job. But the question I would ask if I were to just be a counselor to say that obviously you're very good in something that which has helped you find those jobs, right?
Right.
Which is what is it that has helped you find a job? I think is important, and is it possible to do it in a manner that offers flexibility? Is the question I would ask. Because if you've been able to find so many jobs, you must be outstanding at something, and therefore, knowing how can I do it in a way that offers me that flexibility, I think is one way out. But obviously, this is a fairly difficult situation. I'm not sure there's an easy answer to it. But all I know is there is a talent, there is an ability.
The next question is it okay to tell organization about our mental health situation, or basically how to approach it? Basically, the questions are like, if we put certain things on our CV that I have such kind of mental illness, then we don't get call for interview. So I'm
Correct.
just clubbing those two questions together.
Sure. I would not put it in the CV. I would not put it in the CV. I would certainly engage in the interview process. The reason is the people who screen the CVs may not have the maturity to even understand these things. So I don't think we should put it in the CV. However, before I finally accept the job, if I have created the technical, there is a various stages in the selection. First is someone uses keywords to see if you have the skill sets required. Someone has some tests and technical screening. Then there is an HR round. Then the manager meets. At the right time, I think it will be necessary once you made progress at the right time, when it is up to you to decide, it would be definitely advisable to say that, look, these are my limitations. And this is what I want to share with you, and see if the organization has the readiness and willingness to even accept it. That would be my position on this.
Next question is, for sustaining in a job during the episode of illness, how do I handle the conflict with my manager or team leads?
Um, so, clearly, organizational realities, there will be limits to how much flexibility the immediate manager will have. And the team lead, especially if you're in a frontline job with huge delivery demands, I think they will have significant limitations in terms of how much flexibility can they show. If they have a large team and everyday deliverables are impacted, they will have a limitation. Therefore, the first question, the first point I made is that the kind of job I should be in, where the error for flexibility is very limited, and I will be putting my manager in a situation where he can really be of no help and assistance to me in my difficulty. That's where I go back to saying what kind of job is likely to suit me, I think would be critical. Otherwise, the stress, our own sense of consciousness of having to deliver the best, conflicted by our inability to do it, can, according to me, aggravate the situation. That I want to do a good job, I want to be sincere, but I'm not able to. That can put me in a difficult position, is what I'm thinking.
Saras ma'am, you want to ask something?
More than asking, hello, good evening, Mr. Challa. This is Saras Bhaskar. I endorse with you about not having to put about mental illness in the resume or profile or CV, because if you have diabetes or other conditions, do you project that on your CV?
That's correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
So there is this stigma, the mental health, people who have mental health issues themselves have. And first they need to come out of that stigma, only then they will have the courage to face the world. So
Correct.
even that question doesn't arise at all, should not be arising in their head. Should I be
Correct.
putting it on the resume? And that is what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, totally agree with you. People have all kinds of difficulties and constraints of any nature. Somebody may not be able to travel, somebody may have a back problem, somebody may not be able to leave home. So everyone has difficulties. I have difficulties and constraints. As long as I try to operate within my strengths, I think I should, unless I have some special requirements. Everybody has some special requirements. Okay, this I can do, I cannot do this. Right? So I think, and today the only thing I want to say, today more than ever, especially after the pandemic, I find that people have realized, thanks to staying at home, that My roles I play are far more than my organizational identity. There is a lot I need to do which I haven't done in my life, and therefore their ability to tell the organizations I can't do this, I'm not interested in this, has gone up. I know people who used to travel 50 kilometers to work, and for several months they didn't travel. Now they are telling the company, I traveled, yes, but now I don't want to travel. I don't see spending 4 hours on the road a great idea. So please understand that. And organizations are saying, okay, I'll put an office there, you come there 2 days a week. So therefore, I'm saying if organizations see value in you are showing flexibility, one is to fight the organization, other is to say, where will I have the maximum bargaining power? So if I can strengthen that, find those right spaces, I think I'm in a better place. While recognizing that organizations are also becoming more aware, their knowledge is getting better, jobs are changing. But that is a slow process, I'm saying.
If I may pitch in here, just wanted to add something, Ganesh, Pratika here. So good evening, everybody. Very interesting conversation. I represent a mental health organization, Felicity Care. Just to the question someone asked about, having to disclose and is it a good idea? So from our experience at Felicity Care, we a lot of times provide certificates or kind of medical certificates by clinical psychologists, which people take to submit to their HR in the organizations, and they're able to take sick leave like they would for any other illness, where they're required to kind of submit some medical documentation. So most large corporates, from where we've had clients, we have found that, there is acceptance of this. For example, like if you need a break, you are having a manic episode of a bipolar, or it could be obsessive compulsive disorder or any condition like that, it is understood by the companies as well, and a lot of times treated like any other illness, like any other sick leave that you would apply. So just wanted to put that out.
Yeah. So the point I want to make is, thanks for that. The point I want to make is this. If I were to draw a kind of 4 boxes of jobs in organizations, right? I want us to imagine on the right-hand top corner is full-time permanent jobs, right? For professionals. The 9 to 5, 5 days a week, retirement, pension, PF, all of that stuff. On the extreme left are jobs which are what I call highly flexible jobs. Flexibility, how often you turn up doesn't matter as long as you deliver work. Now, my preference is, depending on the extent of difficulty you have, you must be. The third box is jobs where you are not employed by the company, but you're on short period, short duration, temporary. Depending on my condition, I should choose where I will fit in best, is what I'm saying. For example, if I'm very good in English, I can edit. I'm a good content editor. I can sit anywhere in the world and edit. And I can edit it at a time when I am actually comfortable with myself, not when I am having a certain difficulty, right? Now, that is a good example of a job that I can do editing. I can do it remote. I can do it in the middle of the night when I'm okay, as long as I deliver it in 24 hours. Now, if I am doing graphic design and I turn in a design, I have 24 hours to turn in, I can do it. So I'm saying in this continuum between jobs paid for peace, highly flexible, versus company jobs, the more you go towards company jobs, the greater the benchmarks of expectations, time demands and pressures increase. If you ask me, are people in organizations able to cope with it? They are not. They are also suffering. They are suffering, but they do not call themselves mentally unwell, though they might be. That is why I like what Saras said. We don't need to feel guilty and give a label to ourselves. Everyone is struggling.
Sir, I want to ask you one question. May I go?
But depending on where I am, not where I am comfortable. Yeah,
Hello.
please.
No, my son had
Yes,
a
yes.
mental illness, schizophrenia, and he has come out of it. Last 12 years he has suffered, and he has completed his engineering, and he has started his job, but he is about 3 to 4 jobs. Terminated. They asked him to leave because they every time they usually now when they hire initially their probation period is there, and in this period they keep on observing the new recruit, the person who is recruited, and his body language, his attitude, and and somehow those who have suffered this mental illness has some sort of maybe depression or some anxiety. And which is these people catch up immediately. Arey, this person is behaving like this, or his body language is like this, and then they point out this and then say, "Nahi, this person is not fit." And behavioral thing is now though the person is sincere, is working hard work is he is doing, but then they point out, though he is talented, they will point out his body language is no, his attitude is like that. So how to deal with this thing?
Can I chip in for a moment, Ganesh?
Please.
See, what a job is for people with some degree of remission of the condition. People who are florid still need medical in terms of medication and those kind of things. So it's the problem is, though it can be in remission, the side effects of the medication sometimes cause oddly perceived by the environment. So there are a couple of things which basically, I think what you said, going into it, while you're really going into it at that point in time itself, is give the okay for having this condition. And as Pratika said, as Saras has also echoed, there are a lot of help which is one can seek out. When in doubt, one can reach out, and I think that's important. And I also find that there is some SOS measures which are needed. Some early warning signs, if you sense that, hey, I'm getting into this, you should be able to duck out of it. And that ducking out, whether it is through medication, there are some SOS meds also, though it requires a professional to look at it. The other ways is to just basically retire, for example, put on your headphones and just wait for the thing to pass over. See, the symptoms have to be acknowledged and dealt with. If you're in denial that this is causing these issues, that can be an issue in itself. Would you go ahead and, of course, Chip, tell us what you had in mind about this kind of a perception of illness, which can be in people hiring the individual.
Sir, these people who are on these psychiatric medicines, they usually feel sleepy. And then these people sometimes are caught taking a small nap during the work when they are working on the laptop or on the computer. Working for say 6-7 hours continuously on computer can make some people very, you suddenly get tired, and one can get sleepy because somebody is on medicines can easily get the psychiatric medicine can easily feel sleepy, and these people are then they pointed that you are sleeping.
Right.
That is what that is what happened with my son.
He is clueless. He's generally talk is giving, not giving talk on people who have that specific issues. And these questions are very specific.
Ganesh,
questions.
can I add something?
Okay.
Two things that he pointed out. One is feeling sleepy, and then after 4 and 5 hours of computer work, the eyes get tired, and then, taking a small nap, that gets him in trouble. There are so many factors to be looked into, because when someone is taking a medicine, what time are they taking it the previous night? Is it at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock? Which means by the time that chemical components break into the blood system, it is like 1 o'clock or something, they fall asleep and they won't be able to get up by 6 o'clock. So, what time are they taking their meds at night? And number two, are the doctor who they are consulting with aware that his work duty reporting time is this, and in order for him to be there, how are the medicines going to be tweaked? Because the sleepiness is not out of laziness; it is due to the reaction of the medicine. Now, when someone continuously works in the computer for 3 or 4 hours, believe me, my eyes get tired and I also get droopy and sleepy. He needs to wake up and take a walk or go for a cup of coffee, or put a headset to listen to music. Just do some other activity other than napping to avoid that sleep is my humble recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah,
I just want to say that for people with any kind of health condition, one of the things they will need to report to the doctor is what work they do. Any doctor asks you what work are you doing, and therefore what is the preparation I need to be able to deliver acceptable levels of performance in that job. So if as Dr. Saras said, then I take the medicine, what exercises, what SOS measures I must be equipped with, otherwise my confidence will come down. Now, organization, maturity, micro level. When at a policy level, they will say, yeah, this is fine. At a micro level, it's going to take a very long time. And it is very unrealistic to expect that everyone, as supervisor, will understand what is going on. So our preparedness to deal with these must be at a higher level, is what I would say. You know.
I have found one tool especially useful in my regard, and which is to exercise control on muscles, whether it be speech muscles, motor muscles, or for that matter. It's one of the tools recommended by a method we follow in Eklavya. So when you have an early warning signal that something is off, you have to take proactive measures. It becomes too late to shut the stable door after the horse is out. When you find some restlessness at that point in time, becoming aware and using it to control yourself, because every act of self control leads to self esteem. And I think that's an important takeaway
Correct.
we have found here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Would Manjari, any other questions?
So, Ganesh, one of the things I am picking up from one is really what kind of jobs to choose, but all the jobs may not so perfectly fit into my condition, which means some level of bridging support might be required for people to know what are the 5-6 things I can do as self-help to prepare, prevent, repair in a situation where I have difficulties. One thing I am learning that I need be equipped with those tools and methods to bridge that gap whenever I have challenges, right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I have one question I'll ask collectively. When we have this self-help support group meetings, we often find that the person with mental illness, they have this habit of, leaving their job. In spite of they are having a good job, due to symptoms, they have this habit of leaving the job because they feel that it won't be comfortable for them. And after leaving that job, since they don't have any routine, so it goes into downward spiral. And they were much better before, because there was certain set routine, and your mind gets little bit distracted, and you feel, sense of you have this self esteem. So but after that, it goes on the downward spiral. So, any small tips, like how to, uh, stay there, I mean, anything which will help them, because many people,
Yeah.
they have good job, or maybe not just jobs, just studying also. There are some
Correct,
people.
correct.
So can you
So one of the things I certainly mentioned is that is access to a go-to person, somebody that you trust, who you can go and even ventilate.
Hmm.
You can even ventilate, share your difficulty, share you feel like leaving a job, and this is that you come to this conclusion. To be able to speak to someone and uh, just transact it and process it can help me maybe overcome the worst case scenario I have imagined in my mind.
Right.
You're absolutely right that if I'm able to avert every episode where I feel like leaving my job, which many people do, frankly, many people feel like leaving the job, not just because of themselves, because of the kind of jobs and bosses they have to work for. And many people do that also. They say, I'd rather live without a job than work in this place and this job and this boss. So I think the coping ability might be limited. How can I increase that coping ability by having access to someone at that moment? I think it can be the family or someone I have whom I can speak to about that situation and overcome that, I think is critical. This is something a lot of our coaches do, that when they work with people to enhance their abilities, quite often they end up just listening to their difficulties, struggles, the fact that they feel hopeless at a certain point in time. But if they can overcome that episode, I think it would be fantastic.
If I may,
And then if 2 episodes they overcome, their strength might go up, is what I'm feeling. Yeah, Pratika.
yes, because we are talking about some suggestions here. There are a few things I would like to point out here, right? And these are a lot of free to access tools, right? So, for example, if you use the Felicity Care app itself on Android or iOS, the app has been developed by psychologists. So the intent has been to productize some aspects of therapy, because there are a lot of people who cannot even afford therapy. It is expensive to always speak one on one to a psychologist. So these are some free to access tools. So for example, we were talking about some instant relief, right? So like for anxiety, you could do grounding techniques, right? You will find a Zen flow kind of a section. You can start whatever you want to work with, right? Your problem is focus, your problem is sleep, you're having a panic attack, whatever that is, and this is absolutely free to use. So I would really urge people to use it. We have features like journaling. So journaling is a typical recommendation given by psychologists in therapy sessions. It's definitely considered. I mean, a lot of research has been done on it, and these are a lot of preventive measures which you can take, which a lot of times sort of help, in terms of curtailing the episode, or they nip it in the bud and don't let it get too clinical, right? Affirmations, gratitude. You can also take free mental health assessments, right? These are again internationally recognized psychometric inventories. So if for example, you are taking a Hamilton anxiety scale, that your report says you have a severe sort of a score, then you know that you have to find help at that point, right? So it's not just my Felicity Care app. I'm sure there's a lot of apps available out there like that. So I would strongly urge people to make use of free resources which are available on the internet. I'm
Correct.
happy to help here in any way, that I can.
Yeah.
And I would also like to offer, if there are people, where there is a concern when it comes to, being able to afford therapy sessions, to a certain number of sessions, we can offer it free of cost, and, those kind of things
Yeah.
we can speak on. So just wanted to, put that help out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of apps available, resources available. Having one on your phone to try something is a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Can I ask one question?
We have well, Ganeshji, could you give us a little more time and just for a couple of questions?
Sure.
Okay.
No, when these people who have suffered mental illness and they have come out of it, the problem has gone. But then they, when they join work, they have some anxiety because they feel that they will they will not be able to cope with it, or
they will tell the problem.
one thing is they feel like urge of sharing their problem with their colleagues.
That will be harmful.
And when they share the problem with their colleague, that becomes that spreads, and they start looking at him in a very different angle, and even that news reaches to the boss, and that I mean that is not good for him for the job.
How he gets terrified, bola na.
And these people get anxiety. Arey Baba, this I have to stop this. I have to stop that, and they are not able to. I mean, they become very disturbed at the job place.
Here,
And they
please
don't-
reach out. I would suggest that if you're not ready to take on a job, please reach out to self-help groups. Please reach out to tools like Pratika ma'am mentioned. Please reach out to your doctor. Please reach out to your counselor. And I think by and large, the outlook is important, and developing the outlook with whatever means is possible, because peace of mind is our paramount goal. It is not money, it is not status, it is not fame. Would anybody else like to share? I hear someone. Please.
Ganeshji, can I add one thing? So, as we understood your question, you can join the self-help support group meeting. So, we conduct self-help support group meeting with for a person with mental illness. Here, we share these problems. This is a very secured place because the confidentiality is maintained over here. So, you can share your feelings, you can talk about it, and then it is not affected in any way to your professional environment, and you can vent out. We teach few techniques where how you can handle your some disturbances which are on the some day-to-day events. So this is a very good we teach some very good techniques over here. But yes, you have to continue with medicines and you have to take your therapy as well. But you get a platform to share your feelings. Thank you so much.
Madam, is it available in Thane?
No, these are online meetings, sir.
Online.
Yes, yes, these are online meetings. Yes, I have
How
given
to register for that?
I have given all this information in the chat box about Eklavya Foundation for Mental Health. You can email on our mail ID. We have this website. You can inquire on that, and you can talk to us if you will. We have this in two mediums, that is in English as well as in Marathi. Okay, so you can talk to all other person who are going through the similar situations. So we have these bi-weekly. So you can definitely reach out to us and we can talk about it.
Okay.
Ganeshji, Ganesh Shellaji, thank you so much for devoting your time. I know how it has been, and I know your schedule. I think not many people know about it, but really appreciate carving out the time to speak here. I thank everyone here who has contributed to our understanding, and I thank you for the synergy generated, Ganesh. And I hope we meet again. Different topic perhaps, but it'll be nice to talk about the organization's viewpoint, from the organization's viewpoint, and have thought leaders think carefully about how to blend people with mental illness into the mainstream job or career. That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Yes, thank you.
Sir, can you share me the address of this Thana persons?
Manjiri, are you there?
Hello. Yes, what do you want?
Ma'am, can you share me the address of the Thana person who was asking questions and all?
Actually, on this platform, we have this confidentiality. We cannot share anything. But okay, so
Okay, so can we write some in the Eklavya Foundations and all?
yes, yes,
Yes,
please.
you can write.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Then we will write it on. Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
you,
very much.
everyone. Really appreciate the
Thank you.
insightful exchange. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
आपल्याला
Hi,
मजा
Ganesh.
मदत करेल
Swami
त्यांना.
and Rama here. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, Rama. I was just planning to close up. Yes,
Okay,
please.
yeah, we attended the session fully. It was nice. In fact, I I woke up earlier than Swami and then he joined. It was
Hello.
nice. The session was
Madam.
It was, nice, Ganesh. In fact, I think
you know him.
we could suggest to Ganesh Challa that like Coaching Federation, there could be an effort to form a federation to help people with mental illness.
Truly. I think
that
Dr.
will greatly help.
Rukudikar, Dr. Rukudikar is an excellent resource person in this regard, and he's talking about developing lists and I think into that we could dovetail it. I'm sure Anilji is also here, and I think these inputs are very important, and we'll see how to take this forward. Well, thank you, everyone. We've overshot quite a bit, so we'll meet again. And those of you who are interested in getting in touch with Eklavya Foundation for Mental Health, please do a search on the net. You'll get it, and you can be in touch with us, and we can take this forward. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Sir, somebody was asking about my Thane persons. I don't mind getting in touch with that person.
Yeah, Manjiri, could you put in direct touch with everyone? Can we? Not now. Offline.
How about this? You both write on this email ID and we can share, because this session is getting recorded. And if you share your number over here, so we don't,
Okay,
it is
okay.
We don't do that over here.
We'll mail it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you, madam.
Thank you
very much.